Hi, everyone. Welcome to our first Rates Roundtable of 2017. January kind of slipped away from us, but we have a killer lineup for this roundtable in February. These are sponsored by World Voices organization in the interest of advocacy and education, mentoring, and awareness for the voiceover community. And we want to thank Ann Ganguzza for sharing the hosting duties with me today. So we go for an hour, and all the participants are encouraged to chime in whenever they got something to say, and that's probably something our first panelist should not have a problem with. Erik Sheppard is a seasoned voiceover pro with a long history of professional clients and successes. Several years ago, Erik launched Voice Talent Productions Agency in New York City. He now operates in Texas. Erik has long been a voice of advocacy, experience, and reason for the voiceover community. Also, David Rosenthal. David, welcome. David is the CEO for the Global Voice Acting Academy, an online acting school serving every aspect of the industry, and home to the industry standard GVAA voiceover rate guide. He is also the founder of internetvoicecoach.com, an online voiceover resource library, and has been an active professional in the VO world for 30 years. Anthony Gettig, a full-time voice talent located in the southwest area of Pure, Michigan. Anthony Gettig keeps with commercials, lots of e-learning narration, running the Kalamazoo Voiceover Professional Meetup Group. He's also a member of the executive board of World Voices, and he's not Amish, he just looks like it. Connie Terwilliger has been a voice artist since computers came into existence, with both union and non-union experience. She's an early adopter of technology. She hand-coded her first website more than 20 years ago. Ooh.
Whoa.
Clinging to ISDN, she now supports multiple live connection options in order to meet her clients' needs, and she's got the coolest domain name in the world, voice-talent.com. voiceovertalent.com.
Nice.
Thank you.
It's not as cool as Doug's, which is just voiceovertalent.com.
Well, there's some good ones out there. Andrea Beane is our next introduction. She is half of the dynamic duo of AB Squared Talent. She and business partner Angelina Bruno hit the agency scene last year, made quite the splash. Currently, their Los Angeles-based agency represents more than 400 voiceover and on-camera talent, creating a roster of seasoned veterans and talented newcomers. Welcome, Andrea, to our panel. And finally, Kim Handysides has been a professional VO for 30 years, union in Canada and non-union in the rest of the world. Strangely enough, she is participating in a rates discussion with her union stewards in Montreal, next Thursday. And happy to have you here, Kim. Great to see you all. I'll hand it over to my able co-host, Ann Ganguzza, to get things rolling here, Ann.
Great, thanks. Well, first of all, what an amazing panel. I'm super excited to ask questions. You know, we're going to be talking today about trends in voiceover rates. And I'd actually like to start off with, yes, Erik Sheppard, because Erik impressed me so much with his unique perspective at our last workout. I would just love for him to tell us a little bit about how you feel rates are evolving in 2017.
For me, honestly, I think they're devolving in a big way and in a really scary way. I think we did touch on this last time we spoke. I'm not the sky is falling kind of guy. People have been concerned about rates for especially in the non-union world, obviously, for quite some time. And it's listen, everything's going to be okay, but the past year or so, the rates have just been plummeting. Things that were your average rates are now, cut to almost 10% of what they were. And this is in a lot of ways with clients that are across the board. And these are not, we're not working with small time clients. These are Ad Age top agencies of the year, and they're all just absolutely slashing rates. It seems what's happening a lot in advertising is there seems to be a lot more competition. So I think that's why we're seeing a lot of spec jobs, a lot of voice talent saying, man, what's with all these specs? Because they're creating these packages for so many of these projects that are coming in. They say, well, we'll do a spec. So they're doing the spec with a spec VO, but they're also trying to give them the best numbers that they can. So you have all these ad agencies that are all kind of competing obviously against each other, and they want to try to give the lowest numbers, and they don't want to cut the money that's coming in-house, so they start cutting the rates that are going to the folks that they're hiring outside, the hired help, which is us. And like I said, we're seeing this just across the board. in some of the biggest, almost all of the bigger ad agencies that are out there. So unless something really serious happens to stop this, I mean, we're nearly at the basement already as it is. And then you have talents, well, that doesn't affect me because I'm a union talent. I'll just go union and blah, 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 whatever. That's not almost an option anymore because all these places are just going non-union. So you have the biggest houses all going non-union and just rates just going boom, 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 down, down, down. And people are taking it. So I really think we're in trouble here, not to be the voice of doom or, check, things are really looking bad out there. I think they're really looking bad, and they're looking bad very, very rapidly. So it's definitely a major concern.
Now,
Andrea, can I get your take on that too? Because every time, it's like Erik said, every time we bring this up, somebody like Bob Bergen pops up and goes, well, I don't worry about that. My agent handles all the rates and I'm union, so I just sit back and take the residuals. But I see the LA market being dinged by this too. And, it's slow to come, but do you experience this as well there in LA?
Actually, yeah, we're seeing like a lot longer usage. I just kind of wrote a letter to one of the producers saying 2 years. At first I was looking at the amount and I'm like, well, it's kind of low end of the low. And then I was like, wait, this is for 2 years. So as I'm writing my letter, and I've got to watch out because I'm in the middle and I don't want to get any producer like, well, I don't want to deal with her. All I hear is grief. Yet I want them to understand what they're putting our talent up against if they're asking for exclusivity, if they're asking for all media buy. So what happened is I sent this really nicely crafted letter out, and probably within about 5 minutes, they posted something saying, well, some of our agents, and they upped the rate, didn't lose the 2 years. And I sent it out with still a little bit of trepidation because I hear from my talent, pass, I'm not doing that. And so I sent it out and I really didn't hear anything back. I was glad they upped the rate and that they took what we were saying seriously. Doesn't always work out that way. So that was one of those times that I do write emails and I do tell my talent, I have put an email into the producer and this is what I'm trying to do. And if enough of us do that, then they're going to go back to their client and say, you know what, this rate is not high enough. And to do it in a respectful way, understanding that I know that's their job, that they're caught in between me and the client. And so I don't want to burn bridges. I don't want to make people feel bad about, what they're doing, but let's be transparent. Let's all talk about what we need. We all need to have a business and make a living. So that's how I handle it. But I still get those emails from some talent. I had one talent tell me, and this was a well-known LA agent, casting director, gave me a rate on something, and he said, you need to go tell those clients to screw it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I didn't answer his email because there really wasn't a question, but I get it. You can vent, but don't shoot me. I'm just the messenger. We've got a whole line of people at different places in their career and people that need that first job. So lower rate can be okay for them. And I always say this is not for everyone. So I take what I get and I try to make lemonade.
I think that's a great idea.
Connie, I'd like to ask you your perspective because you've been in the industry and how it's evolved, however it's evolved for you, and how are you working with it?
I'm just glad I got in the business a long time ago. I have repeat clients. I have direct hits. I have regular contacts and referrals that know when to refer when rates are good. I see the rates plummeting. One of the things that I think is happening is that we have younger people in those creative positions at the agencies, and they just don't know. They don't have the history. They don't understand. They're Fiverr babies. They have that crowdsourcing, let's, do everything for cheaper kind of mentality. And I don't think they see down the road that if people can't make a living doing what they're doing, they won't be around to support you down, in the future, that, or you won't be available when necessary because you are working your other job. Sorry, the door closed and the dogs are freaking out. I think that I've used that before, actually, with some clients, and when they say, "Oh, that seems a little high," and I said, "Well, I'm going to be here. This is what I do. I do this full time. I'm going to be around the next time you need me." And some people won't, and you do get that feedback from the people who got into this business as pure actors, who they've always expected that they have to have other jobs. They have to have their subsistence job in order to do what they love to do. And I think that the voiceover business, because of technology, is not the same as being an on-camera actor and working as a waitress and driving Uber and stuff in order to make that job. So I am concerned about it, and I'm very grateful that I'm established so that I can turn down the jobs, and I have turned down more and more. That's the part that to me is becoming more concerning, is that, and I get I turn down a lot of opportunities for my agents just because the rates are so low. And especially on some of the the smaller agents, Midwest, around the country, that are, just like, what? I'm just glad that I've been doing it for a while. And I do have to counsel my new, I have an introduction class to voiceovers at a city community college here in San Diego. And I, have to counsel them that it's tough. It's going to be really rough for them to be able to make a living in this business.
Right. Kim, what's your perspective from where you sit in Canada? Same thing? Rates are dropping. What are you doing about it?
Well, yes, absolutely, they are. As a matter of fact, it's been about 2.5 years since I've put a booth in my house and started working internationally and doing, like I said, non-union outside of Canada. I'm still union in Canada, and I've been around for doing this for about 30 years. Fortunate enough to be probably one of the top 10 female voices in Canada, which is awesome. Have had a great low 6-figure steady salary for a long time. However, 2 years ago, I saw one of my major clients represented about 40% of my income, a wonderful e-learning company, get sold to a place in India, and I was invited to continue working at a 1/6 of my rate.
Ouch.
Yeah.
So the global marketplace pressures are having an effect on all this.
Yes, absolutely. Now it's like 2.5 years in. 2 years ago, 100% of my income was ACTRA. Now 1/4 of my income is ACTRA, and 75%, thank goodness, is non-union rest of the world. And part of that, I didn't know how to approach the market at first, so I went with the pay-to-plays. Now I'm starting to do some of my own marketing, which is great. But rates, it's crazy. I mean, January is a slow month. So sometimes, one of the things that I really like about the non-union status is that you can say, oh my God, I have nothing going on this week. Yeah, okay, I'll take a job that I wouldn't normally take. However, I really try to keep those rates up to a reasonable level. Because like Connie said, this is our livelihood. This is what we do all the time. It's important to be able to make sure that, especially, I'm going to say seasoned professionals, but also, the really good young millennials that are out there, that we have a certain standard that we won't drop below.
Right. And Anthony, let me get with you, because I know you do a lot of e-learning, and that's not the world of media. That's a corporate world. Are they also downing your rates as we go along here?
Well, I have a little bit different perspective. I've not been doing it for 30 years or 20 years. I've been full-time for 6 years. I mean, I started in radio back in '83, but doing like intently voice talent, only for 6 years, full-time now. So I don't remember what it was like back then because I wasn't there doing it, in all fairness. Yeah, I mean, the way I approach it is there are plenty of people who are willing to offer you less, and they want you to do it for less, and they want more and more for less. I've just structured my business such that those people, when those signs start to show, I say, well, thank you. It's been great to work with you, and I move on. And then I cultivate the other relationships with companies, with recording studios, that I really focus on the relationship to help keep the rate up, and which frankly works well for me. And I've got a very diverse set of clients. At any given day, I'm able to work. Except for today, I'm in whisper room. But yeah, there's no shortage of people wanting you to do it for less. And no is a powerful word to learn. It really is. And I would just encourage, people to work on that relationship. And not just a relationship, but the value added, hey, I'm going to be here for you. And that's why I love what you said, Connie, is, look, this is what I do. There are a lot of people, yeah, you can get it cheaper. Go ahead. Mm-hmm. But when you need a revision in 6 months or a year, or you need to have another course, I'll be here. They won't be, most likely. So. Mm-hmm.
I'd like
David,
to.
Go ahead, Ann.
Yeah, I'd like to ask David because, and I'm sure we were probably going to ask the same question because David, your team at GVAA has been instrumental in probably one of the a super resourceful rate guide, and you were, hands in it all the way. What did you see any trends in the rate guide that surprised you? Because you've also been in the industry quite a while.
Yeah, 30 years myself. And I've obviously seen huge changes over that time. I have a multifaceted approach here and take on things. I would reiterate what Connie and Anthony have been saying about how important it is to talk up the fact that this is what you do, that you're a professional, and that they are going to get the highest quality standard work for their product. And so much of this has to do, I believe, with a few trends. I think that there has been in the business world and on a cultural level a prolonged shock from the 2008 financial debacle. I think it has lasted a very long time, and I think that when there is shock or uncertainty, I think the business world, ad agencies, everybody, the first thing that goes is advertising. And that becomes a self-perpetuating spiral downward because, oh, well, we don't have any, we got to pull back on advertising. People don't know we exist. And then all of a sudden they're screaming over we don't have any profits. Well, we got to pull back more on advertising. I mean, they go for the wrong thing. I mean, it's just a very human business-like response to things, trying to find places to cut back. But I feel that as the economy has come back, that there was a time in the between 2008 and 2012 where we went from a corporate society that was built around excellence to a corporate society that was built around it's good enough. Mm-hmm. And I really feel that I've seen that throughout the nation on both a business level and a cultural level. And I think that as the young people that grew up, as you say, the fire, is that they got used to it's good enough mentality. What I feel is really important, and what we've counseled our GVAA students to do is that we at this point are needing to educate those people as to what excellence will do for their business. Because they're so accustomed to it's good enough, they are also accustomed to getting a certain payback for that. And we're saying, if you want to elevate the payback for yourself and your company, you need to elevate all aspects of your business, including the way in which you're marketing that and presenting your product. And so the rate guide is a wonderful, wonderful way to educate the people that you are in touch with. And every day we get testimonies back saying, oh my God, I was able to negotiate a really nice rate when I let them know. And we have a way in which we ask people to educate people about this. We say, oh, well, this is the industry standard, so I can't really work for the rate that you're asking. And they'll go, oh, I didn't know there was an industry standard. And we go, oh, really? Oh, that's great. No, that's fine. I can understand. No, here it is. Here is the industry standard, and you're looking right at it. And they go, oh, okay. And they said, of course, if this is for superior quality professional work, and this is what we do. And we also educate them saying, now, if you're a substandard company, we can do substandard work for you if you'd like. And we do that in a very nice, cajoling kind of way. We don't needle them. We just let them know that, hey, you're a professional company, right? You want professional work, right? You want consistency, you want quality, you want reliability. That's what you're paying for. And if that's the kind of message that you want to get out there in the world for your product, for your business, for your service, this is what you're going to get. And so it's been surprising how well that has worked. It involves education and it involves negotiation, but it has started to work. It has started to lift rates for a number of the people that we are getting testimonials from, specifically about using the rate guide, the GVAA rate guide, for their negotiations. The other aspect that I would talk really quickly about is that you are creating relationship, as Anthony said. Mm-hmm. And that is so important, because humans are longing for a relationship, especially in the business world that is becoming more and more specialized and segregated in our little pods and our little home studios and stuff. They're longing and searching for a relationship. If you can give them that, if you can give them a sense that when you're working with me, you'll get a good sense of humor, you'll get great quality work, and you'll get like a business friendship as well. Those things are become intangibly worth a lot of money for people.
Sure.
And so what you have to do is you have to weed out the people, as Anthony was saying, that are wanting that lower rate, and you'll go, okay, well, good luck with that, and educate the people who are willing to hear you to elevate. So that's kind of where we're coming from as a school these days, is to try and educate and use and negotiate at the same time. Sorry, Anthony?
Anthony.
Could I just dovetail on that? What a great point. The whole relationship thing is so key. I have clients that I'm thinking of one guy in particular who said, I know I could get this done for less, but I like working with you. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Whenever I can, I'm going to send you work. He has 2 male voice talents, him and me. And he has 2 female talents that he works with. And he's really tight with them. And he's like, yeah, I know I could get it for less, but you guys do such a great job. And you're so nice. Being nice goes a long way in business and building that relationship. And these are the kind of people that just hand you a job. There's no audition. They just give you the job. And you've already established that you're doing it for a fair rate, and they're happy, you're happy. It's a great thing. So I think that's a really important point that you hit on, Dave.
The audition thing is something else that's changed so much over the years, is that, everybody cast off demos for so long, and then boom, the internet happened, and everything just changed there too. And everything you do has to be a custom audition, and it's just like,
it's very time consuming.
I'd like to ask, Erik and Andrea, regarding an agent, being an agent. I'm sure you've seen your agency evolve with these rates. And how do you see it? How do you see it evolving over the next couple of years? Are you going to be doing more email writing back and forth, negotiating, like Andrea was mentioning before? Or how do you see it, more non-union work? What's going to happen? What do you think? Erik or Andrea?
I'll tell you, I had these types of fantasies, and one day I'll leave the agency to my kids if they're interested. 20 years from now, I don't even know if this is going to be a job anymore. 10 years, from now, I'm not even sure it's going to be a job anymore. It's going to go the way that a lot of voice talent, have gone. I know we only work with seasoned pros. I know a lot of pros that they're not in the business anymore. They're selling houses or whatever they're doing. So as an agent, it is tough. And like she was saying, you get blowback a lot from the talent. We could send out stuff, $17 million, and they're like, how about not 18? Because they're actors. But the worst. But that's good. I mean, that's the whole point. I think that's what we're talking about, is saying don't just roll over and take this. The problem is you have the type of people who are going to tune into this thing, and they're concerned about rates, and so they're going to listen to us go on about it. And then you have the folks like Connie was saying, these aren't full timers. These are they're hobbyists. Hey, $50, man, is beer money. That's cool. And some of them are pretty good, and they have a nice mic, and they're all right. And they don't care. They don't really have a horse in this race like the folks who are making a living here. And you know what? Honestly, a lot of them are probably just laughing at like, oh, like I know you're trying to protect your phony baloney. Like, I just made $50,000 in a half hour doing a commercial kind of thing. It's coming from all over, but any talent that's going to stand up and say, look, this is crazy. Good for them. The agents have to stand up and say, this is crazy too. But then we get to a point, you look at, like I said, I keep saying, like, man, compare it to a year ago, because that's the thing that's got me riled up, is because in just such a short amount of time, it's been so crazy. But if you look like what we would have done on just Voice Bank, for example, everything that came in, we would have said, okay, submit for this and submit for that and submit for this. And now it's like you got to hunt and peck to find the ones that we're even going to put out. But then we get to the point where, like, I got to put out something. I can't not put out anything, or, there hasn't been anything good for the girls in a while. You know what? This isn't too bad. It's not friggin' Fabo, but the copy is short, or, it's not national. It's a regional or whatever. That's the thing. Everybody has the point where they just go, I got to work. That's what's so dangerous about this situation, whether you're a talent, whoever you are. Everyone's, there's lip service. Well, people shouldn't do that. They shouldn't take this rate, and they shouldn't accept that, and they shouldn't take this nonsense from this pay-to-play or whatever. But it's always somebody else is supposed to not take the nonsense, and there's always somebody to clean up the scraps, and then the rest of us are in trouble here. So it really, stand tough, for God's sakes, because it's a lot easier to go down than for this whole thing to kind of come back to where it was. I'm afraid perhaps some of our best days in some aspects are behind us.
Yeah, Andrea, and I want to build on this too, because you mentioned earlier this spectrum of pay that's probably acceptable, because you've got relative newcomers, you've got people who have been at this for a few years, you've got people who have been at it for many years, and everybody, like Erik says, is trying to keep this threshold of good pay. And yet, how does one break in? And there's a lot of people trying to break in. How does one break in at that level? You don't. You have to kind of start out slower. So how do you guide those talent?
Well, what I see is that, and I say, we only want to be a part of how you make your money. We want our talent to be producing themselves, reaching out, building relationships. We don't really care how many agents you have, because we know we can't supply everything for you. And so I think it's the changing landscape that we're talking about, is that we're finding out that, like our grandparents, my grandfather worked at Bendix Westinghouse for 50 years, and we just don't do that anymore. I mean, what's the length of a job in corporate America? It's not very long. So we have to be realistic. So new players, they've got their day job. They've got their home studio. Maybe they're on some of those pay-to-play voices sites. What I don't like seeing is things like Fiverr, where you go on there and for $5, I'm going to voice something for you. Oh, only 25 words for $5. And there's all these, like, where do you come up with these numbers? That, I think, is something that's really hurting the rates. But kind of back around to building relationships, educating the millennials. I loved what Connie said about the creative directors. You know, when I finally like talk to them, they're like 10 or something. I don't know. And I'm like, oh my God, you know, it's like, I'm your mom. And,
Yep.
and they're cute as can be, and they're adorable. And, you know, I love working with their energy because sometimes I feel like I'm 10, you know? And so, but you're right, we've got to educate them. And the thing about, hey, they're going to be around because they've been around.
Right.
The track record is important, and our customer service is so important. I want to work with nice people, and I'm one of those people you want to work with. So all of those things have to come into play. I taught in the public school for 15 years, and they talked about the hidden curriculum. Okay, you know, what's really being taught. It's kind of like that in business. There's a hidden curriculum, and you can be successful because you get it, and you know that it's just about people and the heart. Yeah. It's not about that, you know, difference in price. And sure, do I want all my people to be able to get into the union and do a union spot and make the same amount of money that they're making, you know, when they're doing the non-union and getting paid residuals? And sure, I want to see that for them. I want people to be able to make a living, maybe not just from me, but from this business. So whatever I can do, whether it's encouraging people to find other sources of income, which I'm happy to do, to say that. I don't want every piece of your pie. I just want the piece that I bring to you. And then just educating people. I love this, you know, this guide here. You know, tell people to go look at it when they're, you know, $200 an hour. No, you can't have somebody in Midtown Manhattan for $200 for a 2-hour session. I mean, what are we talking about here? So, you know, it's like saying no. And I like also, Kim said, being responsible for the younger VOs and kind of training them and bringing them up to speed. It's like, it's not okay to be on Fiverr. You know, go on the pay-to-play sites for a while, but wean yourself off, you know, build those relationships, be a business person, be a grown-up.
Yeah.
You know, we're creative, we're artists, but we've got to have that business sense and understanding. So that's my little bit of advice. It's what I try to live by.
Great. Great advice.
I think if I can just chime in here, I love what David Rosenthal touched upon just back a little bit about how in 2008 when the economy kind of took a dive and how I felt like when you were talking about that you're now starting to see light at the end of the tunnel. Our economy's hopefully starting to recover. And that gives me hope because otherwise we could just sit here and talk about, the declining rates. But I think that the fact that you brought that up at all is a good thing. And do you find, Anthony, are you finding that, you know, you're feeling like maybe with the economy coming back a little bit that it's helping you in your voiceover, you know, getting good rates or not?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. And the neat thing is, and Andrea, you really hit on it. Let's be grown-ups. Let's be big people about this. Let's be business people, you know, and that's kind of, I mean, that's my branding statement. This voice means business, you know, it's about business, at least for me. It is. That's what I focus on in corporate and e-learning and narration. The vibe that I'm getting from people that I voice for is, and I ask about this, you know, so what do you think? What's in the pipeline? What's coming down? And they're generally optimistic about the economy. And they're asking their people, hey, what do you think, Mr. Car Manufacturer? Are we going to have some work? Oh, yeah. Man, we're building a new plant here and a new plant there. We're going to have these new hires. And so suddenly there's money trees starting to grow, which is great, you know. And you know, the thing is to be aware of is just to stick to your guns as far as the rates that you want to get, that hopefully, you know, your client can support. And I love that you know, the rate guide. So you got something in black and white. Yeah. Hey, you know, this is the standard, you know. You don't want to go less than the standard, do you, sir? You know,
that's
ma'am,
exactly
whatever.
What I preach. And it is. It's educating a younger generation as to what works in the business world because they just haven't had that experience. And, you know, before and while I was a voiceover talent, I was a financial advisor. And one of the things that happens in the stock market is that it tends to look out 6 months to a year. So that what you are seeing happening in the stock market at any one time is representative of where the sentiment, where the business world thinks it's going to be in 6 months to a year. And with what happened in the last year with our rates going down that Erik was talking about and Andrea was noticing from an agency standpoint, I believe was the market, the business market as a whole and the business industry looking forward to the possibility of a huge question mark as far as this new administration and what that brings in terms of economic uncertainty. And when that economic uncertainty happens, people again tend to go like pull in their advertising dollars and start to say, oh, it's good enough again, it's good enough. What I think we saw was a move towards excellence. Now we're going through a little period here where we're kind of like sussing out, okay, is it okay to get back in the water again? And I'm getting a feeling that the business world is saying, okay, we're going to put our toe in. And with the people that I've been working with in terms of business relationships for many, many years, I hear that. I hear little things of like, well, this will be interesting. We got to see where this all takes us, but I'm sticking with you for now. And if we can, I think, adjust to what's going on in a sense and let people know that the sky isn't going to fall, that we are going to be moving forward and we're still here, your product is still here, and the combination of the two working together will actually raise all boats, you know, rising tide, raise all boats. Again, it's a matter of education and taking these little guys, these little kids that are, as you say, 10 years old, and I'm dealing with them too, Andrea. You know, it's almost like providing them with a civics lesson. You know, when I was a kid, we had a civics class. We learned how to be civil and social with each other. And as far as business is concerned, it's almost like letting them know, hey, I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you grow. I'm here to give you a good time while you're doing it and have a great time. And they do respond to that. It's just that they're not used to that, I think.
Yeah. I'm going to turn to Connie. Connie, give us a quick lesson. WoVO is all about the awareness and the education for our associate members, the up-and-comers. So give us a quick scenario of how you might deal with a client who is either for the first time offering you a low rate or who has now lowered their rate after several years. What do you say to them? I'm sure you do it business-like and cordial, but how do you educate them? What do you say that says this is not acceptable for me?
I really haven't. I haven't had that happen very often with my repeat clients and things. And if I do get offered a lower rate, I simply say, I'm sorry, that rate is just low. I'm sure you'll be able to find somebody who can do it for you. So I haven't had to, just today, I tossed out, I responded to a client that I've had before who didn't give me a budget. He just told me what the project was. And I said, I'm headed out to go do something. I'll be back in a little while. Do you have a budget in mind? And he did write back with a budget that was acceptable for the project. But if it had been lower, I probably would have turned it down and just simply said that, you know, based on the usage, the shelf life in the eyeballs, which is kind of the term I use frequently, is shelf life in eyeballs. I just, you know, it needs to, the dollars need to be a little bit higher. And so
you don't spend a lot of time trying to convert or educate a new customer like that?
I don't, because I have in the past, and I actually had one guy that I spent a lot of time, and they had gone locally and found 3 people in the San Diego area and asked us to quote on his job. and he revealed to me what the rates were. He said one of them quoted $150, and your $450 is, $25 more than this other person. And so I've decided to go with the person, and can you meet the other rate, $25 less? And it was like, no, I'm sorry.
No.
Well, that's
$25, please give me a break.
Yeah.
But the thing is that in our industry, it's not just about price. And if you're talking, my husband sells cardboard boxes. If you're talking cardboard boxes, very often it's just about price. I mean, he tries to offer service, and he's a great, wonderful kind of a guy, but it is, unfortunately, I mean, that's that in our industry. It's not about price. It's about the quality of what you're giving. And Connie, I liked what you brought up about the idea. I want to say to my clients or my potential clients, what is your budget?
Mm-hmm.
They'll say, well, how much do you charge? And I said, well, my budget, like I say, it depends on population and place. And what are your uses? What are you going to plan on using it for? Try to get more information from them. And then also, what I'll do is if we've gotten to the point where we're talking a number back and forth, and it's, there's a reasonable distance, but they can't seem to budge, I'll say, okay, well, I offer a loyalty discount. If you can provide me work once a month or once a week, whatever it is, I have certain rates that I will go down for a loyalty discount, a no edit rate, a directed session rate, and then I don't have to worry about editing it afterward. Boom, it's gone. So there's some play with that I like.
I like that.
With one student that came to us because they were having a hard time negotiating, it was a Canadian company that he was working with. He was in United States, and the company wanted in perpetuity. They wanted exclusivity, and they were willing to give a certain rate. And we had to explain, and we said, go back here, and you say, if everything was exclusive, I would no longer be able to work. and do you understand that you would want me you would want me to work for you, but I couldn't if I'd already been exclusive to somebody else. If everybody becomes exclusive, you won't find anybody to work anymore. It'll be the bottom of the heap. So they got that. They said, oh, okay, all right. So what do we want to do? And I said, well, we usually work at 1 year, 6 months, 1 year. They go, okay, 1 year. So we went from exclusivity and in perpetuity to 1 year, no exclusivity. Then the fact is we had to tell them, oh, do you also know that based on the US and Canadian dollar that I'm taking a 25% pay cut? And they went, oh, we didn't think about that. So, I mean, they're not aware. They're not aware. They're going off of what they know. Mm-hmm. And on every single point, they came to a compromise with this guy and worked out a very nice deal.
But see, that's the education process. And I think not enough of us voice actors do that, just to push back just a little bit in kindness and courtesy and firmly have a spine. And say, did you realize, and like David said, have you seen the rates? Have you seen the minimums? I think not enough of us do that.
And I think if I can go back to what Connie was saying is can you match the price at $25 less? At that point, and whether, how far are you willing to go to educate that potential client who probably will never pay that price anyways? And I agree with you, Connie, there that, there's only so much education. If somebody's already got a mindset that they want to pay a certain, lower price, trying to convince them otherwise is a little bit difficult. And I think your time might be better spent, pursuing a client that can pay you what their budget is. So.
Just saying no can be the best education that there is. Hey, no, sorry. And then somebody else says, hey, no, sorry. I mean, that happens, constantly when we see agent jobs. They put something out and we just go, no. And, we hit delete. And then you can say, a couple days later, they come back. So we haven't really gotten a lot of response. They'll come back first and say, oh, we've extended the deadline. Oh, thank you. We're going to add another 5% agency fee for you. Like, don't try to butter me up, you jerk. and they go, hey, listen, we've decided to, like you were saying, a lot of times they're happy to say, we really don't need exclusivity for, perpetuity on toilet paper or whatever stupid thing they're asking for on a, website, whatever. And they start dropping those things and you just know it was because everybody else said no. So, and that's when you're like, solidarity, man, great. I think that's really what everybody here is talking about. It's the same thing. That's the best education there is just having enough people that are brave and not desperate enough to just take everything.
And Erik, if I can just say that's fantastic that you just said that, because that gives us as voice talent who are saying no, the confidence to say it. And Andrea too, I'm sure if you've, gone back and, they didn't get a whole lot of response with that low rate. So, I think that's very promising for our industry.
Connie,
I will actually hold auditions back, thinking I'm putting this out here, but I've already put an email in. I'm not going to post my auditions until you guys raise your rate, because I'm showing you we're not going for that.
Great.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So I've done that before, and just the whole idea that I stand behind my talent as individuals, and that y'all are not cardboard boxes, and you are not interrupting people. And I just had to educate someone. I said, well, you picked a really good voice because she's the voice of, and she doesn't work for that rate. Oh, well, we can raise it $50 more an hour. And I said, she doesn't work. So I did say to him, I said, are you willing to understand that or accept that this recording session may not take place today? And he said, yes. And I said, okay. Yeah. And it didn't. And we got someone else who has less experience, but no less of a great voice, because we only have great voices. But some people are willing to work at a different rate for whatever their needs are, their financial needs, how they structure their lifestyle. It's independent. So, that in that way, I have no problem talking that hard language, and holding firm for my voice.
Thank you. That's fantastic.
Connie, you were going to jump in there with something, did you?
Well, I think that one of the things that talking about education is that because we're all pretty much very social networking savvy, but I have found in my personal relationships with people who are not necessarily connected, is that they have no clue about anything. They have no idea what is a fair rate, what was a fair rate, where the rates are going. They don't know. I mean, I even had a local person ask me a couple years ago about pay-to-play websites. He had no idea about it. He did not even know where to go to get information about it. So there are still so many people, despite the fact that there's so many places to go to get information, they don't have the information. So I think that some of what we're talking about is not going to ever reach the people that it needs to reach. And so I don't know how big a percentage that is, and how much it actually will affect the people out there who are looking for talent. But I think there's a very large group of people that have no idea what we're talking about.
Well, I think common sense is in short supply these days, but it only makes common sense for anybody getting into any career vector to do due diligence, to start looking around, doing the research, talk to people, get a mentor, ask questions. And not enough people in voiceover are doing that. So they're coming in way low.
I think when you ask questions to people, that builds a relationship. Hey, I've never really done this before. Can you tell me?
There you go.
I do that all the time, and I don't feel like it lessens my ability to be an agent and effective, because I'm like, hey, I've never worked this market before. Can you tell me a little bit about it? And people are more than happy, and they like talking, and so it kind of works.
That does, yes.
Yeah, it's true. A lot of people are coming, as you know, from different lines of work. Completely.
No.
Exactly right. Yeah. And at GVAA we do a free consultation, and during those free consultations we kind of tell it like it is. And I think people have an idea out there in the world about what voiceover is and how they can just they hear on the radio and if the guy sounds amazingly natural, they go, I can do that. And I tell them, no, you can't. It's not that easy. And I tell them that they are going to be a small business person. They're not just going to be somebody who just trips in and becomes a voiceover talent. They are going to put on a business hat. And are they ready for all that and the startup capital? So yeah, it's important. And hopefully more and more people will start asking those questions rather than trying to find the easiest road to nowhere, frankly.
Wow.
Yep.
It's like our esteemed colleague Bob Sauer says, voiceover is a great way to make a living, but a terrible way to make a living fast or quickly.
Right.
Isn't that the truth?
Right. Well, we're getting close to the bottom of our hour. Any final thoughts, Erik?
I'm thinking it would just be amazing if we were all like in the medical field and we were all surgeons. And we say, there's these people I just thought I could be a doctor, and they all jumped in as well. And hey, I'm a doctor. Hey, I can operate on you $5. I can do it for $10. And then all the people who've been doctors for 30 years are going, wait, no, our rates are going down, and nobody knows who a good doctor is. And well, you got to sell them on what a good surgeon. You go, well, I actually went to school for this. Well, yeah, but I'll do it cheap. You go, what the hell? This is insanity here. But it's, everybody kind of realizes, hey, I can't just decide tomorrow to be a doctor, but everybody thinks that they could do what we do. And so there's this confusion. So, thank you guys for keeping up the fight and just reminding people to, stay strong.
Well, everybody talks about how many people are getting into the business, but I mean, nobody says much about the attrition rate. I think there's a pretty high attrition rate too. People get in 6 months later, they go, "Oh man, I can't handle this. I'm getting out." I'm sorry, David, you had something.
And that's the thing is that they
keep the foot.
Keep the faith. Yeah. No, yeah, it is true. It's really about staying solidarity. It's about education, and it's about standing up for your worth. It's about we are a specialized profession, and we do it really wonderfully well. And the added value that we can bring to a business, a product, a service is incalculable. I keep telling them that. Just if the amount of money that you put into a business is definitely going to be you're going to see that in the amount that you get back.
We need to make sure that we are practicing what we're preaching.
You bet.
We
should not be going to Fiverr to get our logos done.
Please, thank you. Yes.
Because if we continue to support that business model with the creative fields, it's just, so.
Bye-bye.
Yes. Good point, Connie.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Kim, any final thoughts from the Great White North?
Oh, I just had a thought and I can't think what it is now.
It never happens
today.
Yeah, I'll ask someone else. I'll remember it in a second.
All right. Well, Anthony, so you say you've only been at this 6 years. My gosh, you're wonderfully successful at it, and I think it's because you are cordial and you're courteous. You keep a good business. Any final wisdom for those up and comers who are where you were 6 years ago?
Well, I would say the most important thing is to treat it like a business. This is show business, but again, show business is 98% business and 2% show. Treat it like a business. And somebody, I forget who earlier said, hey, you're going to be a small business owner, and that scares the bejeebers out of people.
Yeah.
But you're going to be a business owner. Treat it like a business and have fun. And stick up for yourself. It's okay. Life's short, man.
I remembered what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a cousin of mine who is an amazing sound man in film in Montreal. And he will say, on any given shoot, there's 50 people that are there for the video and one guy, him, and his assistant for the sound. He said, that's another thing that we can talk to our potential clients about. It's like, look how much money you've spent on your graphics, your video, your blah, blah, blah. Now your sound is going to pull it all together with my voice. So that's how, that's why it's worth more. Mm-hmm. I'm preaching to the choir.
But others watching will need to hear
that's
that.
Right.
There's been so much great wisdom here in this last hour. At World Voices, again, We're here to advocate. We're here to promote. We're here to bring awareness and education for those who are looking to do their due diligence. God bless them. They're trying to find out. They're asking for help. They're asking questions, and we need to provide these resources for them to get a clue, of how to approach this business. So, God, I just thank each and every one of you. Connie, we finally got you on a call. Thank you very much. David, great resource, man. Erik, Anthony, Kim, and Andrea, you guys rock. It was just an awesome hour. I'm going to post.
Thank you.
Tonight.
It was a pleasure
Thank
being
you.
with everybody. Thank you.
I just really want to thank you.
for the
These conversations are so valuable. Any final words from anybody else, Ann?
I was so excited for this panel, and you guys did not disappoint. So thank you so much. So valuable, such valuable information. I think it's going to be fantastic for people watching. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.